welcome to Oracle. We're continuing astrology and tarot with Scorpio. Now, Scorpio has kind of a bad rep in some circles. Scorpio is the definite passionate one. My best friend is a Scorpio, and man, she is extremely passionate about everything. So, very passionate. It's hard to get a neutral response out of a Scorpio sometimes because they're just passionate, either passionate about it or they absolutely hate it. So, love it or hate it type thing, as well as a very vengeful if you cross them, and that is known. I mean, they will not let it go for quite some time, and then will remember if you cross them, if you tick them off extremely, etc., etc. They do have a forgiving and loving side, though, too, and it again has that Scorpio connection to quite a few things. As far as a relationship goes, you will not find a more reliable person unless you just completely stab them in the back, and then you need to watch out. So yeah, Scorpio has that mixture, that mix, right? And we start with the 5. Now, in the 5 of Cups, by the way, we have sort of this depressed feel, and we have Mars. Now, Mars is a malefic, and Mars has sort of moved into Scorpio, and Scorpio being that passionate type, we get that Mars aspect. Now, Mars is also the planet of war, or the planet of action, a planet of a lot of different things. And one of the aspects of Mars is it sort of brings out the hardcore side sometimes of a particular sign. And in this case, we have the Scorpio. We have that deep depression, that depression that Scorpio will feel when we have a breakup and everything just goes to crap, right? And a lot of times we have that with Scorpio. When a breakup happens, it really goes down. And my best friend, she gets extremely depressed. I mean, I know that a breakup would depress anybody, but she gets horrifically depressed. It really goes into that. And so we have that warring, or we have that malefic sort of moving in here, right? That malefic sort of moving in here, and during that process we have this weird feel to it, to where everything is depressed and everything is down. And you can see that not only is the person depressed, but they've sort of kicked over, or a bunch of things have spilled and things like that. And that's the other thing that I've noticed about Scorpio, as well as when they have that downside, or they have that depressing feeling, they want to share it with someone. So they'll call someone and let them know, right? I mean, they need that connection. They need to have someone feel their feelings, very empathetic as well, when you have their emotions. So we have that feel here. We have the benefic moving in. The benefic is sort of this warring tendency, and the warring is most likely, the cups were kicked over. Everything has gone bad, and I'm just going to kick a few things over. I'm just going to, get really upset at this point. So that's one of the things that we see here with the 5. And the 5 being sort of a negative number, sort of being that conflict number as well. The 5 being conflict, we have that conflict, that warring feel from Mars as well. So, we're coming into Scorpio sort of on a negative tone, but we have many more cards to go. And the next one we have is the 6 of Cups. The 6 of Cups being all the cute, the cute girls, and they're sharing the cups and things like that. And we have the 6 of Cups. Now, in this particular case, we have the Sun moving in, and the Sun has sort of moved into Scorpio. And one of the things about the Sun is it sort of brings out that positive aspect, or it brings out that pure aspect of the sign. And once it sort of hits Scorpio, we get that empathy, right? We get that empathy, like I was talking about before with the empathy. We're getting that feeling, and that feeling is sort of coming along here and giving us a lot of a connection. So you sort of see that connection, between the girl and the boy, and so it's sort of that connection, or that empathy. And we have empathy as well with the sort of the sharing aspect and things like that. So the Sun again illuminates a sign. So when the Sun is going to hit a sign, it's going to illuminate all of the signs. So you have all of these positive aspects sort of coming out. And again, we have another positive planet coming in here with Venus. But for now, the Sun sort of illuminates that and allows us to see all the variances and things like that with the empathy, right? With that emotional connection, that she can feel that emotional connection and that bonding that we see typical of Scorpio as well. We have that bonding, that tight bonding, that tight-knit family orientation as well. So I have a lot of good aspects coming in here with the sun sort of shining on, and you can see that feel of that sunlight just sort of shining all over it with this bright yellow feel throughout the card and this beautiful day, right? Not a cloud in the sky. We have the beautiful day sort of shining down. We have the flowers sprouting out. And again, we see a lot of that sun aspect coming through here in the Six of Cups. So it's important to see in both cases, you know, we have all these beautiful positive flowers and things like that when we go to the other deck as well. So that is the sixth, and that is sort of our sun shining on, that empathy and that love and that tight-knit connection that we see with the Scorpio. And as we see again with Scorpio, we're talking about Venus. Now, Venus is a benefic. Venus brings together, right? Venus brings together, Saturn separates. So Venus brings together a lot of different aspects of Scorpio. And that's one of the things with Scorpio is, again, remember I said, it just, you know, my opinion of being best friends with Scorpio for like 20-something years. We have that I don't know how to explain it. You have that passion combined with the anger, combined with the forwardness, combined with the deep emotions, combined with the connection to other people and that deep connection with family as well. So we have a bunch of different aspects. And what we're seeing here is all the different aspects being brought out by the benefic, planet moving into Scorpio. And we have all of these different options. So we have that multifaceted thing, right? I know with Gemini, you have the sort of dual personality almost, you know, not literally dual personality, but you have that dual type aspect. You have that dual type feel with Gemini, but here in Scorpio, you have it much more pronounced and many more options. And we see the positive options, or we see this love coming in, right? The love, we have more options, we have more things to choose from, we have more different things moving around. And as Venus comes into Scorpio, we do get that feel of the positiveness or the love or the, kind of thing as well. And remember that Venus also is sort of the primary representation of money. And we do see that in here, as far as options of gems, and then maybe an option of an unknown aspect and things like that. So we have, or maybe an option of a house or a dwelling maybe. So we have that duality, we have that multiple options sort of flowering amongst here once the Venus moves in. So Venus is the primary planet when you talk about money or, money situations. The second one is Jupiter. Jupiter is less so, but Venus is sort of the primary. Realize that Venus is also love and connection and bonding and things like that. But it's also, when you're talking about money, it's also money as well. So that's with the Seven of Cups. And finally, we're going to talk about the court cards. Now, again, the court cards, there's a lot of different people with a lot of different opinions on what court cards go with what court cards go with what signs and planets and things like that. So in this particular case, we're sticking with the original deck that we started with, and that means that the Page of Cups is here, and the Page of Cups is sort of that Scorpio sign. And so we do have a bit of that Scorpio flair, right? Maybe it's not as much as Leo, maybe not as much as Leo. Leo has a lot more flair, but we do have a bit of that Scorpio flair because Scorpio doesn't mind being the center of attention sometimes, right? Scorpio, like everybody else, I'm master of the obvious here, but Scorpio does like to be the center of attention. Scorpio likes to be entertained. And that's one of the things as well with my best friend. She likes to be entertained. She's going to gravitate towards the person that's the most entertaining. But when we go out, somebody is funny or something like that, she will immediately go up and make that connection, that emotional connection to the person and become their best friend just like that, man. It is amazing. She'll become their best friend instantly. So one of those things will become their best friend. They'll talk, they'll have empathy. And it's one of those things, too. We have that charm of Scorpio. I mean, obviously there's the negative sides of Scorpio as well, but Scorpio does have a lot of charm. Scorpio can smile and can definitely charm some people and get them talking, get them asking what's going on and things like that. So we have that connection, or we have that sort of allure of the Scorpio allure, right? The Scorpio allure likes to be entertained, likes the connection, has that emotional bonding and things like that. And the fish is sort of responding to that feeling on the left side as well. So again, a great card in my opinion, and the page sort of represents that love it or hate it Scorpio type of values as well, right? So love it or hate it, the page, sort of that youthfulness or that naivete coming in with the Scorpio, because Scorpio does have a lot of tantrums, right? Basically, has a lot of tantrums. One time my friend had her boyfriend broke up with her or something like that, and so she posted on social media, just posted on social media about what a terrible person he was, and then a week later they were back together. So, you know, and of course everybody is on social media like, oh, ditch him, oh, he's terrible. But then a week later he's back. So again, love it or hate it, Scorpio cycles, man. So again, we have that feeling and that naivete, almost that emotional instability, that emotional insecurity, and you'll have that, right? As far as relationships goes, she hasn't had one that lasted a long time. When it does last a long time, it's just constant turmoil, man. So I mean, we have that up and down. You have that push and pull aspect of Scorpio, and that is my sort of my 2 cents on Scorpio and how the planets coming into it relate and how all these relate together. Speaking of can relate, did I tell you that I have a Patreon page? Like everybody else on YouTube and anywhere else, I have a Patreon page, and it supports me and helps me pay the bills with the Adobe software that I use. It helps me get the prototype cards for my new deck out and all that good stuff. So if you like the images and you like all of this and you don't mind supporting me with the lessons, you like the lessons, in other words, you like the content. If you like the content, why not throw a couple of bucks my way? I would greatly appreciate it. So my current Patreon supporters are Adam G, Alley Cat, Annie Lamaster, Astro Corey, Brianna Santiago, Carmen Gabriano, Carolyn Bouchard, Crystal McGinn, Fatima, Galatia 9, Gary Fink, Hot Chocolate, Irina, Jessica Mante, Kim Wilson, KSW, La Ami, Richard Zeh, Shintaro Kuga, Sinai Zamora, and Trino Iraverio. Thank you so much for being my Patreon supporters. If you would like to join the crowd of people, please see the link below. And as always, hit like and subscribe. It does get more people to the channel. It gets some activity going, and people are like, hey, what's going on in that channel? They get so much cool stuff going on this channel, man. We got tarot news. We're creating an oracle deck live where you get to see the progress. You get to give your input. So much awesomeness on this channel. I mean, please hit like and subscribe and bring your friends over. I'd love to have them over. I'd love to have all of us as one big family. Anyway, thank you so much for watching.